Airway Heights water crisis. Months worth of testing confirmed it. Contaminated water in wells around Fairchild Air Force Base. And last night we broke the story. Airway Heights water supply is not safe to drink right now either, and it could be days before that changes. Today, a citywide scramble to provide safe water for their citizens. And tonight, a community-wide effort to make sure everyone's taken care of.
And good evening to you. I'm Dan Kleckner.
And I'm Stephanie Vigil. I'm live right here at the Water Distribution Center in Airway Heights. Show you the line behind me. It really isn't that long. It's barely wrapped around the block. But what's most important is that the community has come together to lend a hand to their neighbors. And most the neighbors here are very grateful for what they've been given until this situation, of course, resolves itself. Now, this is such an important story that we wanted to devote much of our newscast, at least the first block, 9 minutes of it, to getting you the answers that you really need and really want. Don't forget to call 211 as well if you need water for yourself and you're homebound, because it's very important that you get that water and you don't drink from your tap right now. But we begin with how this community has really come together and rallied around each other. For that, we head to Joe McHale. He's at a restaurant nearby who says they are staying open. Joe?
Well, Steph, this restaurant right here isn't open. You can see on the door here they're closed due to the water contamination. Some restaurants around town have chosen to do that. But earlier today, I was at a restaurant that isn't taking this approach. They have said it's been tough, though, having to jump over a few hurdles to keep their doors open. There's not a lot of room for error in the restaurant business. From the grill to the plate to the customer, there are a lot of steps.
There you go, sir.
But everything at La Presca in Airway Heights just got a little more complicated when the city told them to stop using their water to cook.
It's a big part of a business. You know, you need water for anything and everything. Ice, you can't use that. The fountain machines, you can't use them. Everything's a problem.
But instead of shutting their doors, manager Clint Hernandez came up with a way to stay open. And it started with a phone call to their sister restaurant in Grand Coulee, who has delivered everything they need.
A lot of stuff that's prep, they're bringing to us so we can, finish the process out here with what we have.
Hernandez also bought gallons upon gallons of bottled water to serve to customers or cook with.
This is just some of the water, stockpile we have.
It's a lot of extra effort, Hernandez says, is well worth it.
I had a catering you just saw a few minutes ago. The guy came in, I think on Monday. We talked about it, and he has to feed, 20 plus people. And I got to, come through and feed the 20 people that are relying on him. It's a little difficult for people with no water to go the extra hassle at their homes, and, we'll take care of you. We'll cook for you.
Now I'm back out here live in Airway Heights. This is Wolfie's Burger. I did speak with the manager, or the owner, I should say, earlier today. She did say, though, now they have a grasp on the situation. They plan on opening up tomorrow morning. Reporting live in Airway Heights, Joe McHale, KHQ Local News.
All right, love hearing that. They're there to help. Thank you, Joe. Well, we have told you about this at 5 o'clock, but take down this number, very easy to remember, 211. If you can't get down here, of course, a lot of folks are willing to help you. Call 211 if you can donate or even volunteer. Right now, we're going to bring in Katie Chen because a lot of folks did make it down here today.
Yeah, that's right. They actually told me that about 680 people came last night, and more than thousands of people actually come through today to get their bottled water. But the question on everyone's mind really is, how long is this going to last?
This obviously is not the long-term solution. City Manager Albert Tripp tells me
our focus is on trying to return things to normal as soon as possible, which is why we're focusing on expediting the time frames for testing and trying to flush out the system as soon as possible.
They turned off the 2 contaminated wells immediately. At 9 a.m., they started flushing out the system.
That's slated to be a 28-hour process around the clock, and so we'll continue to do that throughout this evening, and it'll continue over into tomorrow morning as well.
After that, they'll test for contaminants before they can give the all clear.
So in reality, it could be a week before people can start using their water systems again.
Worst case scenario, a week. That's correct.
That's because the longest part of this process will be testing the water. The best case scenario, their hope really is 3 to 4 days. So in the meantime, they'll continue shipping in water until this is resolved.
Well, unfortunately, what we did learn today is that this will likely take more than a week, about 10 days to resolve this. But they are working on a long-term solution, which is a sort of filtration system for the water wells.
And I bet, unfortunately, they're learning a lot as they go along because new results are coming in. They have not dealt with this. It was unregulated at a certain point up until a few years ago. And now that this has come back, there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered.
Well, that's right. And the question is, if this comes back, the test results come back again with contaminants, well, what are they going to do? Well, they're actually going to have to flush the system once again.
Okay, Katie, thank you so much for your hard work. All right, and we wanted to let you know, a lot of folks have been asking about Airway Heights Corrections Center and Northern Quest Resort and Casino. Right now, Airway Heights says they are able to accommodate everybody, so they don't have any problems with accommodating staff and the inmates there. They are just adjusting food options and making sure that everyone stays safe. And also Northern Quest saying the same thing, that their employees are drinking bottled water right now. They might have a limited menu when it comes to their restaurants, but for the most part, they are able to be fully operable. Well, I had a chance to sit down with Colonel Samuelson. We're going to talk about him in just a little bit, but in the meantime, I'm going to send it back to my co-anchor, Dan.
All right, Steph, thank you. As you might expect, in situations like this, lawsuits are never too far behind. In fact, one law firm has already jumped on possible lawsuits. In fact, they're holding a meeting right now at Northern Quest Resort and Casino with their potential clients. This particular firm has already filed similar lawsuits against the manufacturers of the firefighting foam thought to have caused this contamination. We did talk with city leaders in Airway Heights who said the lawyers have not contacted them. And we told you that Medical Lake's water has tested and came back clean. Well, there's also been some concern that contaminated groundwater could move into Spokane's water supply. We talked with the city of Spokane spokeswoman about this and why this is not a concern.
And the water goes one way from the city to Airway Heights, and we have backflow protection so that their water doesn't come back into our system.
She went on to say that the Spokane River acts as a natural barrier. In fact, back in 2015, Spokane actually tested its water for several chemicals, including the one in the water in Airway Heights, and it came back clean. Well, Fairchild says the contaminated water is likely the result of firefighting foam used by the Air Force for the last 40 years. It's no longer being used, but Steffi actually had the chance to sit down with Fairchild's wing commander, Colonel Ryan Samuelson, this afternoon.
Dan, the first question that I asked him was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a crisis is this? And he said, for me, if it involves our community, it's a 10. I want to put it on my top priority list. And so that is what the Airway Heights is doing and the Air Force Base is doing. Well, talking with Colonel Samuelson about the contaminated water, also about trust and accountability, let's listen to some of what he had to say. On a scale of 1 to 10 right now, can you give me a number of how important this crisis is?
Stephanie, any issue, anything that the base does that impacts our community is on a 10 for me. 10 is being most important because we have had 75 years of heritage and partnership with our community. You've heard me say this before. I'm a firm believer. It is your base. It is Spokane Community's base. And the communities that we're involved with, it's our communities. Right. And so being transparent and getting ahead of any potential impacts of operations that we do out there is vitally important to me.
What do you plan to do from this point forward?
From this point forward, what we will do is we have stopped using any of these chemicals that were identified with PFOS, PFOA outside of the areas that are contained right now that we will work to come up with other compounds. Number two is we will continue to work with the community. Just as we've had, this base in the past has had other things that were identified in the 40s that were not safe for consumption. And we constantly monitor hundreds of wells in and around the community to monitor that. We're going to continue to do that with PFOS, PFOA as well.
What about trust? I mean, how important is it for the people of Airway Heights and the surrounding areas and those affected to know that they weren't, nothing was going on behind their back?
Trust is hugely important. It's the basis of our incredible 75-year relationship with this community. To be honest with you, many people have advised me wait until the validated results came in. And I said, I'd rather be wrong on the conservative side to tell people preliminary results so that they can start making individual choices within their life. That's one of the successes I see in this is we didn't wait for regulation to tell us to stop. The Air Force said, this is an emerging contaminant and people are moving away from it. Why don't we do the same?
The Colonel talking about how he's really trying to stay proactive and get ahead of it and to be transparent with the community. As a matter of fact, they are having that meeting, and we're going to give you more information on that coming up. I believe it's next Wednesday in Medical Lake at the high school. So we're working working to get his interview online on KHQ.com, where he does talk about how his family is affected as well, along with his airmen and women. We also put in a call to our governor, Jay Inslee, who did not know about this issue. Actually, he said he's working on getting a statement, of course, as soon as he finds out and is filled in with more information. And we also put a call in to Kathy McMorris Rogers' office. We have not heard back from her just yet. But Fairchild Air Force Base, talking about that meeting, if you write it down right now, it's on the 23rd of May at 6 p.m. at Medical Lake High School. It's in the auditorium. Of course, they want to discuss this topic with anybody who has questions that have not yet been answered. And as always, we do have coverage for you, and it continues even when our newscast ends, including long-term health care issues. We talked with the Spokane Regional Health Care District about that. If there is any more information, of course, we're going to send out a breaking text alert for you. All you have to do is download the free KHQ local news app.